So that's your pre-departure briefing for the food science summer school. So we'll have about 45 minutes of briefing plus some time at the end for a Q&A. So you're welcome to leave your camera off. Make sure you keep your mics off during the briefing, just so there's no echo. But if you have any questions at the end and want to put your hand up and ask out loud instead of putting a question in the chat, you're more than welcome to do that. So we're going to monitor the chat during the briefing. So you're welcome to use the chat to ask for some questions. We'll be taking questions at the end for the Q&A, but if you have a question and you just don't want to hold it and just put it in the chat, we'll make sure everything is answered by the end of the session. But equally expect some questions may be answered during the briefing because hopefully it's pretty comprehensive. But I'm sure you'll find some more things to ask. There's always something to ask about. So in terms of what we're going to cover, so a welcome, introductions, still have introductions from staff and from our student ambassador. We'll talk you through the summer school, its aims, and just an overview of the program. We've also got Joe, who is a food science academic, and Alex, who's a food science student. So they're going to talk about studying food science, at least from their different perspectives. And then back to the residential. So I'll tell you about key dates and times, what to bring, expectations, share information in terms of accessibility and inclusion, and we'll finish with the Q&A. So let's crack on with introductions. So like I said, my name is Charlène. I'm the Education Engagement Lead Officer for the Faculty of Environment. My job is to organize outreach projects for environment-related subjects. And I'm running this summer school. Jo, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Dr. Jo Brown. I'm a teaching fellow at the School of Food Science and Nutrition. So essentially, I spend a lot of time with the students, teaching them all the foundational skills that they would need for their degrees. And then I'm also the outreach lead. So I organise a lot of events alongside Charlène to kind of help promote food science.
Great, thank you, Jo. Kieran, about you?
Hi everyone, I'm Kieran, he, him. I'm the Educational Engagement Officer here at Leeds across the STEM outreach team and the Health Sciences outreach team, largely supporting colleagues like Charlène with these sorts of summer schools and our Taster Day events and lots of other activities.
Great, thank you, Kieran. So, Kieran, so you're going to be on the residential with us Monday and Tuesday, staying overnight on Tuesday. And here I'm also mentioning a couple of colleagues, George and Cara, will be working also on the summer school, but are not joining us tonight. But you'll meet them in person at the summer school. So all of us will be on hand during the day and overnight. We're all DBS checked. As well as all student ambassadors who are working on the summer school. So we're all trained and ready to help with any well-being or safeguarding concern. I'll share this again in a follow-up email, but we have a contact number which is going to be active during the residential. So you have it on the screen. No need to write it down now because it'll be in emails. Yes, so that's the contact number for the residential. I've literally just talked about this now. Kieran, have you started the recording?
Yeah, the recording's going.
Thank you. I didn't see it initially. Thank you. Sorry about that because I always forget. Okay, and then so we have Alex, who's one of our student ambassadors. Alex, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. So hello everyone. My name is Alexander. Call me Alex. So I'm actually a final year doing the Integrated Masters of Food Science here at the University of Leeds. So I've been here at the university for almost 4 years now. So I've been through the entire degree, so I'm very well knowledgeable in the kind of work that we do and the things that we study. I also work as an education outreach fellow, which means that I go into schools across Yorkshire. I go to speak and to run workshops. So that could be things like learning how to make ice cream or the science behind tempering chocolate. It's really, really fun, and it's a great way for me to basically go and talk to other students. I'm part of the ambassador team for this summer school. So if you have any questions about what students might be curious about, feel free to ask me.
Great, thank you, Alex. Alex has also worked several times on this residential, so knows loads about it, basically. Alex will be working during the day of the residential. So we have some ambassadors for the day and some ambassadors who will be staying in student accommodation with the participants overnight. So all student ambassadors are current University of Leeds students. They're wearing green t-shirts, so you'll be able to spot them easily when you arrive on campus. They'll be meeting you. And like Alex said, they can help you with all sorts of things you may need, read directions, activities, timetable, questions about the course for studying at Leeds, life in Leeds in general. So they're just fantastic people to just ask questions to, just have a chat with. They're all very friendly. And like I've mentioned before, for members of staff, like all our students ambassadors are DPS checked, they are trained in terms of safeguarding for the summer school. So they're here to support you in any situation, really. So I'm going to talk a bit about the summer school aim. So why are we doing a summer school and what's in it for you, really? So the main thing is to explore food science at higher education and for you to just get an understanding of the degree we're offering. And one of the key aims is for you to gain a bit of guidance into what a degree in food science can lead to, different career paths. And a very important aspect of the residential is to give you the experience of being a student at Leeds for 3 days. So through this experience, you're going to see the campus for yourself. You're going to see like the different facilities in food science, but also beyond. So it can be like accommodation, libraries, food facilities, gym, etc. And you'll also find out about like all the support system available. So like finding out about like disability services, for example. When we mention extracurricular activities here is like just like the clubs, societies, basically finding out about everything at least has to offer to you. And something else also fantastic about the residential is that you get to meet people who are like-minded and share an interest around the subject. Okay, so now I'm going to move on and hand over to Jo.
Thank you. Yes, so I was going to come and introduce you. Well, I thought I'd start off by maybe introducing what food science and nutrition is, because hopefully your child has, or the person that you care for has suggested that they have an interest in this field, but maybe as a parent you're not as familiar with it. So you may have heard about us in the media. So you may have heard about us trying to put insects in foods, or that we're making meat in laboratories. Or you may have heard about us, so some of the data that we generate, not just at Leeds, but as food scientists and nutritionists in general, helps create those public health guides that you might refer to in terms of what you should be eating. You may have also heard about us in the media about certain foods being linked to causing certain illnesses, or in some ways, in some cases, they've been renowned to reducing or being a way to tackle an illness. Or you may have also heard about us about new ways of cooking food. So there's the theory at the moment that a 3D printer will become the new air fryer in everybody's kitchen going forward. And essentially, so not just Leeds food scientists in general will generate data that help kind of structure some of these ideas. And we're not all just crazy scientists in the background that come up with these ideas just for the fun of it. They are cemented by some fundamental research beforehand, which hopefully I'll capture in the next couple of slides. If we go to the next one. So as a food scientist or as a nutritionist, our main goal is to provide food for the nation, ensure that there is food available. And so at the centre of everything that we do, food safety is key. We need to ensure that any ideas that we put forward, anything that we create, has safety that is central to that. So that is the main challenge. But we've noticed over the past decade or so, and especially going forward, there's a load more challenges that are coming our way, especially around feeding an expanding population and an aging population, because that brings in new challenges, new things that we need to develop. Addressing health and nutritional needs. So again, people are a little bit more aware of these elements, or there's been a bit more research into how certain foods have maybe caused certain health implications. And so it is our job to try and rectify this. Like every company, we're also needing to reduce our environmental impact. And this is a huge one for the food industry, just because if you think of everything from agriculture to how we then manufacture food in industry, to how it's then transported to the supermarket, how then it is then purchased by the consumer and cooked when it gets home, there's a lot of environmental impact that comes from food manufacturing. So that is a massive challenge that we need to face. But on top of that, we're also exploring new emerging sciences. So again, over the past probably 20 years, there's been a lot of interest in food as a way of medication. So could we prevent, cure, or slow down certain illnesses like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancers? There's been a lot of research into, is food a vehicle for doing this over certain medications? There's research into novel foods. So again, this is really targeting that environmental impact. And that's where those ingredients such as like insects, lab-grown meat, there's a sustainability element behind these as to why we're exploring these new routes. There's AI, so artificial intelligence, seeing how we can use that as an effective tool to help with some of the challenges that we're foreseeing. And there's things like gut microbiome, which is a massive trend at the moment in terms of that relationship of can we have certain foods that ensure that our gut is really healthy, because there's lots of links to how that improves our well-being. And on top of that, ensuring global food security. And so actually, although these are challenges and they're quite, I suppose they're quite big ones, it's actually quite an exciting time to be joining the food industry, because it's the next generation that are going to have to find solutions to these and really have a massive impact on what the food sector will look like going forward. So it's a really exciting time to join it. If I can have the next slide. Thank you. So food science and nutrition is a multidisciplinary subject. So it is very much a scientific subject. So we take core concepts or theories from sciences, so things like biology, chemistry, physics, maths, engineering, and we apply that to food and food processing in order to make a positive impact. And so I suppose if you're interested in all the sciences, but you're not interested in exploring them fully. And I know as a student, I studied food science at Leeds. This was something that really appealed to me, in the fact that I could have a little bit of all the different sciences and apply them to a concept. And it really brought to life some of those theories that I'd maybe learnt at school and didn't particularly understand why. This was a really good science in applying them to it. Can I have the next slide? Thank you. So if you were to come and study food science and nutrition at Leeds, essentially we offer 3 main courses. So food science, nutrition, and then a combination of the 2, food science and nutrition. And we offer these at a bachelor's degree level. So that would be a 3-year study, or an integrated master's level, which is what Alex did, and that would be a 4-year study. So the way that they're delivered is through traditional lectures, but there's also a lot of seminars, tutorials, and workshops where we really focus on getting the students to apply that learning from lectures into context. And there's also a lot of laboratory practical work. So we have both chemistry labs, physics labs, as well as food manufacturing labs as well. And once you go into your research projects, there's also accessibility to human study rooms, taste panel rooms, sport equipment, a wide variety of microbiology. So a wide variety of laboratories that students that study with us have access to, that form part of that project work. We've also just secured the NAPIC Centre, which is the National Alternative Protein Innovation Centre. So that's hosted now at Leeds. And essentially that's looking at novel food ingredients. So in terms of what that means for our programs of studies, is that they're going to be really enriched with that future studies, but also a lot of our research projects that students will be able to take part with will have a link to this centre as well. So it's a really exciting time to be at Leeds. All of our courses have the opportunity to have an industrial placement year as part of them. So that would mean that the bachelor's course would become 4 years and the integrated master's would become 5 years, which I would really recommend to any student joining us. It's a really good experience if you can afford to do so. It's really invaluable experience to get that year in industry and just overseeing what kind of roles there are. And you could also do a study abroad opportunity. So that could be doing a semester or a full year as part of your degree in a different country. And we have lots of connections with the university where students have done that, and we can help support that. And within our courses, students will also have the opportunity to take on discovery modules. So they choose one of these, I believe, each semester, and it can be relevant to the course, or it can be something completely different just to kind of broaden that horizon. So it could be sports, it could be languages, as it could be something very related to food science and nutrition. So at Leeds, we are dedicated to not just providing subject-based degrees. So obviously that's what we kind of build our programs on, but we're also trying to ensure that the students that come out of Leeds University are career ready. And for this, we do a lot of work in integrating skill development into the programs of study and making sure that students are able to recognise during their study time that we not only provide knowledge, we also provide that skill development. And so our courses are accredited by either the Association of Nutrition or IFST, depending on which program you are studying. And basically, that's a contract that we have with these accrediting bodies to fulfill that our courses meet basically develop the competencies and skills that these bodies would want us to do so. And what that means for our students is at the end of their degree, they can get a membership with either of these accrediting bodies, and that gives them access to a load of workshops, training, support systems, and so on that helps them either get a job or go further in their job roles. So it's a really good community to be part of, and something that we use a lot within our degrees. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah. So depending on obviously which program you do, they do vary slightly. So our first year is common to all our undergraduate programs, which means this is where we really lay out that scientific foundation that they're going to need later on in their study years, as well as introducing those fundamental skills that they need to be successful both in academia and within their program of study. The beauty of this course is that obviously if a student joins us in first year and realizes during that first year that actually, for example, they've applied to do food science and they've realized that they would like to do food science and nutrition, because that first year is common, they have the opportunity during that first year to switch their programs of study, which is really good and takes some of those pressures off students to make that decision straight away. And then once we go into second year, that's when we start to separate the different courses, and it becomes much more difficult at that stage to swap courses. Food science realistically focuses on the physical and chemical properties of food components. So it's really looking at that journey from farm to fork, so from agriculture to when it meets the consumer's plate. What does that journey look like for that food in terms of a physical and chemical approach? So it's really focused on food design, food processing, product development, etc. Nutrition more looks at understanding the chemical and biological principles of food once they're in the body, so that relationship of food and health, food and body, and so on. And then as the students progress through that program of study, they'll really start to look at how the applications of those theories apply to developing nutritional policies and interventions. And then our food science and nutrition course is a combination of the two together. And obviously, once as they progress through their programs of study into their final years, they'll start to do more team-based projects and independent research projects, which I think Alex is going to pick up on in the next couple of slides, so I won't go into too much detail on that one. So in terms of admissions, so I've put what we would expect, what our entry requirements are for the different courses, depending on what you are applying for. This is very much a scientific program of study. We are very much science heavy. And so that's for that reason, we do require 2 sciences on application, and one of those science does need to be a core science, so either biology, chemistry, physics, or maths. The other one can be a relevant one. But as your child has applied for the summer school, we have reviewed their application, and based on what your child has said on that application form, we would assume them to be eligible to apply, assuming that they meet the grades. So hopefully anybody that comes to our summer school will have the opportunity to apply to study with us afterwards. So yeah, can I have the next slide? So in terms of what does this mean for job opportunities? So unfortunately for the food industry, we don't seem to recruit very many students to come and study our programs and study. And this is now being seen within industry as well. And so there's a big shout out, a big need for people to go into these roles, especially foreseeing the challenges that are happening in the food industry and the ones that are coming very rapidly towards us. So what this means for any future prospective student is that there is some really good job security and job opportunities within this field, because there is a need for students to come and study within this field. Food is everywhere, so it is a global employer, which means that there's a lot of opportunity to work abroad if you want to travel abroad if that's something that is of interest. But equally, there's lots of opportunity within the UK as well, based on where some of you have come from. If you can think about maybe some of the bigger food manufacturers around you, that you'll probably find quite a few around Leeds. There's Mars. There's Premier Foods, there's the Two Sisters, there's Morrison's, there's Asda, there's Greencore, and that's just to name a few of the big ones. There are also a lot of smaller ones in there, and I probably haven't listed all of them going through there. So there's lots of opportunity within the UK and abroad as well, and they offer really good wages. And what we can see here on this slide is this is some of the opportunities that students who have studied food science have gone into. So they do tend to go mainly into factory work, manufacturing work in the factories, but working behind the scenes before it reached the factory floor. So really designing those food products, designing the equipment, thinking of the processes behind that food development. And what you can see is there's quite a wide range of job opportunities available for students that study food science. And once you're in the food sector, I've had a really fantastic career once I was in the food sector. You really have the opportunity to move around quite easily, and that's quite expected as well. So it is a really exciting time to go there. And if we go to the next slide. Yep, so this is just some of the employment opportunities. So again, our current students that studied a nutrition degree, some of them may have done a food science and nutrition degree, but we've kind of factored off the jobs where they might be relevant. These are some of the roles that they have gone into. So again, some go into the food industry, but there's some more here that go into clinical nutrition, public health, and so on. But what's really nice to see here is there's some really big employers, lots of job securities, and really successful careers with our students. And there's a couple recently that have gone into animal nutrition, which is really interesting, and some, including myself, that went into cosmetics as well. So there's opportunities to go outside of that food industry with a degree within food science and nutrition. If we go to the next slide. So that was a bit of a brief overview of what our courses are, the opportunities that come with our courses. If you are interested in finding out more, I have 3 students that are currently running a food science and nutrition social media campaign. They're just trying to raise awareness better of our degree programs, but also as food science in general. So if you are interested in finding out more fun facts about food or day in the life of students, have a look at UK Food Science on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, and they do regular posts, and it's a really good way to just find out a little bit more about what we can do. I think it's on to the next slide, yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Alex.
Yep. Hi. So, as I've said before, I've been at the university for almost 4 years now, so I'm approaching the end of my degree. And I'm going to echo quite a few of the things that Joe said. I would say that food science is such a lovely degree for anybody who wants to study science in a really practical and tactile way. I think the one thing that we do really well at Leeds is that we translate what we learn in our lectures into things that we do in person. So every single year we have a huge component of our degree that is practical based. So whether that might be learning industrial methods like canning or freeze drying, whether or not that's learning how to analyze nutritional content, so that's like vitamin C, protein, fat. And so this is really helpful for us because we're learning skills that we're going to use when we've graduated and we're then looking for full-time employment. I think that probably the most fun and exciting part of the degree that most of us students would say is in third year, where we get to do a Dragon's Den style competition. So we get a representative from one of the major supermarket retailers. So for example, this could be Marks and Spencer's, and they'll normally come to us with a list of briefs that they'd like to achieve for the year. And you work in groups of around 6 to 8, and you try to develop a product that can fit that brief. So for example, in my year, when I was doing this program, we were tackling the issue of food waste. So we decided to create a product that was made from leftover orange peels that we then freeze dried as a healthier alternative to candied orange peel. And I find that this project is probably one of the most exciting because it takes everything that you've been learning in your lectures and your practicals and really puts them into a real life situation. Because in the industry, a lot of the time, you're not just thinking about, oh, can we make the most novel product or can we make the most healthy product? We're also thinking about things like profitability, about the market that we are looking for. So what kind of person would want to buy this product? And I think that there's a really nice element of business that goes super understated in our degree, because we have to do all the costings for our products as well. When we go and present our product, we have to show them this is how much this will cost to ship, to transport, to store. So once again, it's giving that really holistic approach to the food science industry, which I really appreciate. There's also the option, as we said before, to undertake discovery modules, and I find this to be really helpful because it helps to expand my view beyond just food science. So I decided to take a language. I've been learning Japanese under the discovery module system, but I've also done modules relating to sustainability. In regards to entrepreneurship, there's also modules available for that. So it can be anything that's the university is offering. It doesn't have to be just food science related. It can be a wide variety of skills, and that's something that I'm really passionate about, because at university we want to make sure that students are ready not just for that particular industry or for that particular degree, but as a whole, as an adult that's going into the working world as well, to be able to get those kinds of skills. And yeah, as my time as an education outreach fellow, I also get to go in and to educate with members of the public. So we had a recent event called Be Curious, where I was holding some sensory tastings, getting people to guess between different brands of sugar-free and full sugar squashes, and just to help to explain a little bit more about what it's actually like and all of the work that goes into making these products healthier and safer for us to consume. So that's something else that I'm really passionate about. And if you enjoy food science, or if you think that the young person that you're with is going to enjoy food science, this summer school is going to be a lot of fun.
That's fab. Thank you so much, Alex. Great, fantastic. So hopefully now everybody knows a bit more about food science. And I'm just going to revert back to talking about the residential and just practicalities around it. So on the first day, you're going to be meeting us at the School of Food Science and Nutrition when you come to Leeds. I'll share like the exact address for it, but basically it's about a 20-minute walk from the train station. As I mentioned, a lot of you will be coming on the train. So you'll find it easily on Google Maps, really, but if you just need a bit more information, it was just after the hospital, the Leeds General Infirmary. And when you get near to the university, like you're going to pass the Cap Nero, Tesco Express, and you will be after the bridge, which is over the ring road. But there will be some signs directing you to the School of Food Science and Nutrition. I will share a picture of what it looks like too. But in any case, if anyone is a bit unsure, gets a bit lost, you can text us or give us a call at the event phone number, and we'll make sure we pick it up and just help you. I know a few students that their parents will be dropping them off for the residential. So there are several options for drop-off. Like if you need to park for a bit longer, there are some options for on-street parking. If you're happy to just like drop your child off quite quickly, like the nearest area is on Vernon Road, so you can't park properly there, but you can drop off someone. And if you need like proper parking close to the School of Food Science and Nutrition, there's the multi-story, the Leeds General Infirmary, so you can park there if you stay in Leeds for a bit longer. That's also very close. So yes, there'll be more information in the handbook we're sending too. So when you join us on day one, so you're going to meet us at the School of Food Science and Nutrition. So that's what it looks like. and you'll be coming from the back of the building. So you have to go around the building to find the entrance here. And our ambassadors are going to meet you for a 11:30 arrival, and to allow everyone to come in, because I know you have different train times and everything. We'll welcome everyone between 11:30 and 12. So you'll be able to spot our ambassadors easily because they're wearing green t-shirts. And yeah, they'll just be like welcoming you and directing you inside for registration. So like I've said before, if you're having any trouble, if you know you're going to be running late because trains are a bit rubbish sometimes, just drop us a text on the event phone number or give us a call so that we know where you are, because if at 12 you haven't turned up and we haven't heard from you, we'll reach out to students initially just to check in to see if you're on your way or not. And if we can't get hold of students, we'll be ringing parents just to check that everything is okay, basically. So just for safeguarding reasons. But hopefully everybody's trains will be on time and everybody will be here by 12. Okay, so now I'm just going to run through the program a bit. So like I just said, so arrival from 11:30 up to 12. At the School of Food Science and Nutrition, and then we'll have a bit of buffer time for everybody to arrive, and then some lunch. Jo, do you want to take over from here?
Yeah, that's fine. So once you've arrived and had your lunch, we'll do some welcoming and housekeeping rules, as well as icebreaker activity and just setting the scene. So introducing what the residential program is, getting you to get to know the peers that are attending the residential with you, getting you to talk a little bit more and form maybe some friendships, and just really just giving you an overview of what to expect. Following up from that, it's a lot of fun. Following on from that, we'll then go over to our food tech lab. So this is our pilot plant food lab, where we'll be doing carousel activities. So essentially, we've just got lots of different areas of food science that we're going to try and present to you through different short activities, so 20 minutes that you can rotate round. And then after that, we'll hand you back over to the ambassadors to take you over to your accommodation. I'll pass it back to you, Charlene.
Yes, so basically, when you arrive in the morning, you will have left your luggage at the School of Food Science and Nutrition. So after the activity in the food tech lab, we'll be walking to the accommodation, check in, you'll be able to see your room, drop off your luggage, and then we'll be heading over to the refectory for dinner. And then after dinner, we're going to have some activities in the evenings. We have a really cool building on campus called Helix, and they have some like VR games and also some board games. So like you'll be able to take part in any activities you want. It'll be pretty chilled and just like a nice time for you just to socialize and just to chill a bit too. And after like the VR activities and board games, we'll have some free time in accommodation. So when we're in the accommodation, you're welcome to chill in your room if you want to, if you need a bit of downtime. You have in each flat you have like a kind of kitchen area, so you can chill with your flatmates in there. Also, there is a reception space where, if I remember well, there are some ping pong tables and pool tables, TV, sofa. So it's just a really nice social space for students. And then so we'll be going to bed by 10:30. And I'll go into more details about accommodation after. So on the Tuesday, on day 2, so we'll get up and go to have breakfast at the refectory. So the refectory is actually not this building, the building next to it, but we'll show you some pictures after. Jo, can you take over for the daytime activities?
Yeah, so once you've had your breakfast, we will welcome you back at the school. So again, we'll go back into our food pilot plant and we'll look at an activity that's looking at food product design. So we're going to give you a brief, and in teams, we will ask you to design your own smoothie based on the brief that we've given to you. Then we'll send you on a campus tour once we've finished that activity and kind of rounded it up. We'll send you on a campus tour to burn off the breakfast and the smoothie, because you will find that you've probably eaten quite a bit by this point. And as well, that way you get to see a bit more of campus, where you're likely, if you were to come to Leeds, where are you likely to have your lectures, the gym, and just kind of familiarise yourself better with what facilities we can offer here at Leeds. We'll then, following off of the campus tour, that will end back at the refectory so that you can have your lunch. Then you'll come back to us for our nutritional workshop. So I suppose this is more in the form of a lecture and active learning lecture style, which is something that Leeds University offers frequently to its students as ways of learning. So here we're going to be really looking at the nutritional analysis and linking it back to the smoothie activity, and really showing students how food science and nutrition really connect together and how we need both of them to be able to move forward. So we'll be looking at the importance of nutritional labeling, how we generate nutritional labels, and thinking how that will all reflect back to that smoothie challenge. Then we'll have a break, just to kind of have a bit of a breather after all that learning, and then we'll go over into one of our, so it says food tech lab, it'll be food analytical lab, or one of our chemistry labs, where you'll be able to do some nutritional analysis. So here specifically on vitamin C, and starting to think about how, when we then include processing, how might that impact the nutritional content, and again linking it all back to that smoothie. So really thinking about if we were doing any form of product development industry, or the different layers that we might need to consider. And again, these are things that we would teach our students within the programme of study. And then once we've finished doing that titration, we will hand you back over to education engagement for the evening activities, and I'll hand it back over to Charlene.
So after all the learning, so you're going to a bit of downtime before dinner. So again, during downtime, you can be in your room, you can be in the common space, that's up to you. So we'll have dinner at the refectory, and then we'll have a quiz for the rest of the evening. And once we finish the quiz, we'll head back to accommodation for a good night of sleep. And then on the last day, so we'll ask you to be ready, have packed everything, and take your luggage down to reception before heading to breakfast. And after breakfast, you'll head into your first session of the morning, Jo.
Yeah, so we'll now probably move a little bit more onto what we would class as food processing. So we have industry coming to help us support a lot on this day. So we'll get a virtual reality factory tour of Mondelez, hopefully. It'll be Mondelez, if not, it'll be of Arla. Then there'll be an activity around food processing and developing and melt in the middle chocolate pudding. And this will be followed up by a mini lecture from Premier Food to showcase how what you've learnt during the summer school, how that might apply in industry. After we've done that activity, we'll move back over to our Helix centre, where we will have a careers event. So you'll have the opportunity to network with some of our alumni, students that have gone into industry, and some that maybe not have studied at Leeds, but really have that opportunity to ask questions, talk about careers with some industry members, which is a really fantastic opportunity. And again, we're trying to get a selection from industry, from food science background, as well as from nutritional backgrounds. And then that will lead into a networking lunch, where we're going to invite academics, students that are currently studying with us, some of our research students as well. We'll have admissions team there, and our employability officers will also come, just so that you can really come in if there's any questions that we haven't answered during your time there, in terms of what does that industrial placement look like, what does study abroad look like, what does student experience look like, what does a research career look like, what do the courses look like. There'll be a wide variety of people there that are able to answer those questions. And with the admissions team there, we are hoping to also run a supportive session, if you want to help you write that personal statement. So that's why admission teams are coming. So if you want some support in what that personal statement should look like in your application, that's a really good opportunity to speak to people who look at them. And hopefully we'll also have access to our VR headsets again. So we're currently looking at new ways of delivering teaching using virtual reality. So one of my colleagues has just developed a virtual reality factory tour that she's embedding into her teaching and assessment methods. So students will have the opportunity to look at what that looks like now in its development stages and how that might then translate into their learning journey if they were to come and study food science at Leeds. And then we'd finish off with a reflection, some evaluations. There are some prizes as well for some of the activities, and that will end the residential at that point. Hand it back to you, Charlene.
Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a bit of practical information about accommodation, food. So basically, each student is going to be allocated a flat. So we have some separate male and female flats. In this flat, you're going to have your own room, and you will be sharing a bathroom with another student. So the bedrooms have what you call Jack and Jill bathroom. So basically, if a student is using the bathroom, there is an electronic lock basically. So there's only one person who can use the bathroom at once. And so don't bring bed sheets or towels because everything is provided. Just bring like everything that you need, your toiletries, but you're good for towels. Then in terms of food, so we're going to be eating breakfast, dinner, and Tuesday lunch at the refectory. So at the refectory, there are loads of options for hot foods and cold lunches too. Just all sorts of cuisine, really. All dietary requirements are catered for, and you'll be eating in like the common area basically now, which you can see in the photo. On Monday, we're going to have some packed lunches, which will be sandwiches, again, like all diets catered for. And on Wednesday, for a networking lunch, there will be some pizza. So that's it for food, basically. So now I'm going to go through what to bring. So you have, again, like more of this information in the handbook we're going to circulate after today's briefing. So make sure you bring like suitable clothes for the residential. I mean, usually, like the last week of June or early July are usually pretty warm in Leeds. I don't want to jinx it, but make sure you check the weather before coming. Make sure you bring a sweater or something like that because it can be quite chilly in the evenings. Bring all the toiletries you need because we can have some spare, but it's very limited. There will be some menstrual products available, but just make sure that you bring what you need really. Don't forget to pack your charger for your phone. And think about bringing something for free time because as you've seen from the program, there is quite a bit of free time built in. And just think about what is nice for you to have a bit of like downtime in your room. It could be a book, like anything you want really. There will be activities on offer, of course, in the evening, and you probably want to have some social time with your peers, but it may be useful to have something just for you. We will have some snacks and refreshments available in the evenings, but if you have some safe foods or if there's anything that you're just quite keen on and you want to bring it, as well as not very sure, you're welcome to. Please do bring a reusable water bottle. So there are some fountains available around campus, so you'll be able to refill your bottle, and it means that we can be more sustainable because we're not wasting plastic bottles. And for anyone who has some medication that you need to take, make sure that you bring it with you, make sure that you take it with you during the day too, so that you get it to hand when you need to take your medication. Joe, I pass it on to you for dressing for the lab.
Yeah. So just touching on the clothes, although it can be warm, it can be cold, it's very variable in Leeds. Just because we will be working within our chemistry and food pilot labs, we do have a certain number of health and safety rules that we need to adhere to. So it's just making sure that we have our arms and legs covered. It's mainly legs at this point, so we need to ensure that you're wearing trousers and not a skirt or shorts. So please make sure that you bring clothes that allows you to go into the labs with your legs covered, and also your shoes need to be covered, so we wouldn't allow sandals or flip-flops. So trainers is absolutely fine. Just make sure that they're closed-toed shoes and that they are comfortable because you are going to be working in the laboratory. If you have got long hair, if you could bring something to tie it back, just because we need to ensure, especially in both labs actually, we need to ensure that there is safety. We will be providing lab coats, so you don't need to bring that. We will provide all of that for you. And when we are in the food tech lab, you will need to wear hair nets. So we say no jewelry and necklaces and rings. We don't mind single bands or limited jewelry, but no excessive jewelry. And like I said, lab coats will be provided as well for that.
Thank you. So then one that's bring, so hopefully it goes without saying, will be the same thing as in every school trip, but please don't bring any valuables. I mean, if you bring some, like, that's your entire responsibility because we don't have anywhere safe to store them. So you're welcome to keep things in your room, but flats, of course, will be locked, like have a key card, but just be sensible in what you're bringing. Of course, no alcohol, no illegal substances, like no form of weapons at all. You've all signed the code of conduct when you confirm your place in the residential. So, so anyone, just breaking rules, basically, just like it's just not okay. Like we'll have to send you home if you break any of these rules. Please avoid bringing any large amounts of food or drinks. Like I've said, like some snacks that are non-perishable are okay, but we're going to provide meals and refreshments, which are all free of charge. So, so only bring what you feel is necessary, really. Please don't bring any pets, like no bicycles, skateboards, scooters, etc. No laser pointer. Like I said, no perishable foods or energy drinks either. Then in terms of expectations, so think about this residential just like you're going on a school trip. So you have a code of conduct and you're all going to behave very sensibly. So so we're asking everyone to keep their phones away during sessions so that you can just like pay attention and just enjoy the experience really. You've all signed up to attend the residential. Like we've selected you to be part of this experience. So just make sure that you bring your like your best attitude and just like ready to just make the most of the experience. And if you're experiencing any issue, we are absolutely here to help. So we have obviously got high expectations of people. You should have high expectations from us. So that means that if I don't know if you're experiencing anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or maybe behavior, language, just anything, just let us know so we can deal with it. We want everybody to feel safe and comfortable in the residential. We want this environment to be inclusive, friendly, supportive. So that's absolutely crucial. So what you can expect from us is to like give you an experience that's enjoyable, a varied program, and for this residential to be like a great experience to help you think about your future and career options. We'll be on hand for any issues, and like I've mentioned before, we are all trained to deal with safeguarding issues, and we'll make sure that you're having the best possible time. We're looking after your well-being, and we'll make sure that any issue will be dealt with professionally and swiftly. Then, so I'm just going to touch to accessibility and inclusion here. So, so if we have anyone like neurodivergent who has just any form of mental health issue, so like we have scheduled some breaks during the residential, during the daytime, but also in the evening. We have some quiet spaces available. So in the School of Food Science and Nutrition, have a well-being room. So there will be a space if you need to take a step back if anything becomes a bit overwhelming. We also have some fidget toys available. So, and then if you have any learning needs, so say if at school you need to type, you're welcome to bring laptop or tablets if you need them to work. If you need to bring any overlays or glasses, make sure you've got them with you. And then in terms of physical stability, so the campus is overall very, very accessible. There is lift access to the classrooms. Most of it is flat floored. The buildings have accessible toilets and many rooms have hearing loops. So there'll always be an option for you to access facilities really. So I know you've had the opportunity already on the confirmation form for students and on the parental permission form to let us know about access requirements. But if there's anything that you've not shared at this stage, anything would be really beneficial for us to know, please do get in touch and let us know, because if we're aware, we can make sure that your stay with us is as comfortable as possible. While if we are not notified, we'll always do our best to accommodate everything, but it's always a bit more challenging if we leave it very last minute. While if we have time to put some provision in place, it's just about data. Now, in terms of dietary requirements, so like I mentioned before, the refectory and the caterer will be aware of any dietary requirements you've raised on the confirmation form. Like items will be like listed. There are some allergens, and you can always ask if anything is unlisted. There will be some snacks available in accommodation, and again, you're welcome to bring some snacks or safe foods if you might need them. That's obviously not an issue. Jo, you wanted to add something about dietary requirements?
I did, yeah. So although within the facilities in the food science and nutrition, we try our ultimate best to reduce allergens within the facilities, we can't class ourselves as being allergen free because we're not a segregated building. We don't have segregated systems. So there is always a chance that there can be cross-contamination. So again, I think that's something to think about if you have got an allergy as to how severe that allergy is. Again, if you can let us know, we can try and figure something out that works for everybody. In addition, you'll have the opportunity throughout the residential, throughout the activities, to try foods, to taste foods. Whether you have an allergy or not, that is not compulsory. You are free to get as involved or as much or as little as you want to, as you feel comfortable with. But again, if you're unsure about anything, please do let us know in the labs, and we will try and facilitate and make it as comfortable as possible. But I just needed to make aware that we can't say that we're allergen free within our laboratory spaces just because of how the building is built. So I just need to make sure that parents and students are aware of that before you attend.
Thank you. Then in terms of religious requirements, so we have so we'll like make any arrangements for dietary requirements. There is a prayer space which is close to the School of Food Science, and multi-faith space available on campus. So if just anybody needs to pray at some point in the day, you can just let one of our ambassadors know, and they'll take you to the nearest prayer space. And there are separate facilities for prayer spaces. And then just for like any other like protected characteristics, so please do count on the fact that we have a very compassionate staff body. We are used to handling a lot of events like this one. We work with a lot of young people from many different backgrounds. So it is our job, it's our duty to look after young people and just make sure that they have the most comfortable experience with us at Leeds. Students are welcome to speak to us in person. So when I say us, it can be like staff like me, Kieran, Joe, or it can be ambassadors like Alex. Students are welcome to text the staff phone if they feel more comfortable texting. But yeah, just again, one more time, so if there's anything related to inclusivity and accessibility you want to let us know about, please drop me an email. We'll also be sending a follow-up email after today. So you're welcome to reply to this email directly if there's anything that we need to be aware of. We'll always do our best to accommodate everyone. So we're going to finish here and move on to the Q&A. Kieran, please can you start the recording now? And then so if you want to get in touch with us by email after today, so